When you think of polo, what comes to mind? Maybe it's lush green fields, high society, and the thundering sound of hooves. But what if I told you this sport is far more than a modern pastime for the elite? What if I told you its roots stretch back over 2,500 years to the heart of an ancient empire? Today, we're journeying back in time to ancient Persia to uncover the epic origins of polo, a game that wasn't just a sport, but a way of life, a training ground for warriors and a stage for kings. Our story begins around 600 BC in the vast and powerful Persian Empire. Long before it was a game of leisure, polo, or chogan as it was known, was a serious business. It was born out of the necessity of training cavalry units. Imagine the scene, not just a friendly match, but a full-scale battle simulation with up to 100 riders on each side. These weren't just games. They were intense, grueling exercises designed to hone the skills of the empire's most elite soldiers. Riding a horse at full gallop, while trying to strike a small ball with a long mallet, requires incredible skill, balance, and coordination. It was the perfect training for the mounted archers and lancers who formed the backbone of the Persian army. They needed to be able to control their steed with just their legs, leaving their hands free to wield a bow or a spear. Chogan taught them exactly that. It was a test of horsemanship, strategy, and sheer nerve. These matches were a spectacle of organized chaos, a beautiful yet brutal dance of man and horse that prepared them for the realities of the battlefield. But chogan was more than just military training. Quickly became ingrained in Persian culture, evolving into the game of kings. Persian royalty and nobility were passionate players. Legendary figures like King Darius the Great and his son Xerxes were known to be avid enthusiasts. For them, chogan was a way to display their prowess, their strength, and their right to rule. Winning a match was a matter of immense personal and political pride. Ancient texts and epic poems like the Shahnameh, or the Book of Kings, are filled with vivid descriptions of royal polo matches. One famous story tells of a game between the Persian prince Siavash and the noblemen of Turan, a rival kingdom. The match was a diplomatic event, a test of skill and character watched by thousands. It wasn't just about scoring goals. It was about showcasing the virtues of bravery, fairness, and leadership. The polo field, known as a maidan, became a stage where political dramas unfolded and heroes were made. The game was a central part of courtly life. The maidens were often located right next to the royal palaces, like the magnificent Nakshi Jahan Square in Isfahan, which still stands today as a testament to polo's historic importance. Imagine the emperor and his court watching from grand pavilions as the best riders in the empire competed below. It was entertainment, but it was also a powerful symbol of the king's authority and the strength of his kingdom. The equipment used back then was remarkably similar to what we see today, a testament to its timeless design. The mallets were made of wood, and the balls were crafted from willow root. But the most crucial element, of course, was the horse. The Persians revered their horses. They were bred for speed, agility, and intelligence. A good polo pony was a prized possession, a partner in the game, and a symbol of its rider's status. The bond between rider and horse was sacred, a partnership forged in the heat of competition. As the Persian Empire expanded, so did the game of chogan. It spread across Asia, carried by soldiers, diplomats, and traveling nobles. From Persia, it traveled east along the Silk Road to China, where it was embraced by the Tang dynasty. It journeyed south to the Indian subcontinent, where the Mughal emperors became passionate patrons. Each culture added its own unique flavor to the game, but its Persian heart remained. It's fascinating to think about how this ancient cavalry drill transformed into a global sport. When the British encountered polo in India in the 19th century, they were captivated. They codified the rules, established the first polo clubs, and eventually introduced the game to Europe and the Americas. This is the version of polo most of us are familiar with today. But every time a player scores a goal, they are participating in a tradition that is thousands of years old. The legacy of chogan is not just found in the modern game of polo. It's woven into the art, literature, and architecture of Iran and the wider region. You can see it in intricate miniature paintings depicting thrilling matches, in poems celebrating the courage of its players, and in the grand public squares that once served as royal polo fields. This journey from a military training exercise in ancient Persia to a beloved international sport is truly remarkable. Chogan was a reflection of the society that created it, dynamic, sophisticated, and powerful. It was a sport that demanded the best from both horse and rider, a game that tested courage and celebrated skill. It was the game of kings, a training ground for warriors, and a cultural treasure that has endured for millennia. So the next time you see a polo match, remember its deep and epic history. Look beyond the modern glamour and see the echoes of ancient Persian cavalry charging across the field. See the ghost of a king watching from his pavilion, and hear the whispers of poets celebrating a timeless display of skill and bravery. You're not just watching a sport, you're witnessing the living legacy of Chogan, the ancient game that shaped an empire and captivated the world. Thanks for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed learning about the incredible history of polo, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories from the ancient world. Let me know in the comments what other historical topics you'd like to explore. Till next time.